that when we repress emotion or we don't allow ourselves to feel and release it, A, it's held, okay, in the body. And B, by not allowing ourselves to feel that emotion, our repression system is not emotion specific. It represses emotions, all emotions. It's like, whoom, don't feel anything. Because it's kind of like, okay, it's not like we think at the time, like, hey, don't feel that. It's like, no, don't feel anything about that. Don't feel anything. So we put the whole general cap on every emotion, and we don't allow ourselves to feel much at all.
Might get out.
Okay? And unintended consequences. The idea is, don't let mom see this. Is kind of the story, but the consequences, don't let it out ever to anyone, is actually the result, which probably wasn't the intention. You know? So, yeah, this is how it happens. But now you've gone through kind of, and you see the denial system and the amazing power we have to compartmentalize, shut off kind of our emotional body with our will. And it has unintended consequences. It doesn't allow us to feel the beautiful emotions. Or I won't be able to. They are so big. I won't be able to, powerlessness. Interpretation of what this experience might be. They are so big. Implied meaning to that is, I'm so small. They are so big and I'm so small, like I'm a little girl. Yeah. Saying that. So I have a powerless little girl perspective on what this experience is going to be that you haven't had yet. Okay, so the story says they are so big, I'm so small, I'll be overwhelmed, I won't be able to function. This is often how we look at big emotions. Okay? Because when we had big emotions as a kid, this is how we learned to relate to them. Okay? You're going to grieve. Okay? Your mom passed away.
Yeah.
And who told you don't cry?
Oh, my dad, he forbid it.
Okay. Your dad didn't know how to deal with your emotions. You probably would have been fine. You knew exactly what to do. Your emotional body and your integrity knew to cry and to have that emotion experience. Okay? Your emotional body knows what to do. And sometimes the biggest pain of those emotions is not that we feel them, not that we feel them and they come out. The biggest pain happens because we put all that pressure down and hold it in. And now we have this emotional release that wants to happen, and we put the pressure on top to hold it down. And now we feel this tightness in our body. Okay? That's the painful part. When we're going against our natural release of emotion. Then it becomes physically painful. So that's allowing and accepting what is repression, rejection of emotion. And you go, okay, I'm going to be and you develop enough will and attention to say, okay, I'm going to be overwhelmed emotionally. Or if I am, that's okay. And you know what? I'll give myself today to do it. You know, on a Saturday night. And tomorrow you go plan something that's enjoyable and healing, and you go hike in nature, and you're like, get yourself recentered again. Right? And you go see how that is, and you come out like, well, it's Sunday, and yeah, yesterday spent time going through some boxes, and some of it was just really joyful and love, and some of it was sad, and some of it was this. But you walk around Sunday, you go, and you know what? And I'm okay. Didn't die. I'm fine. All right. And here's, I mean, there's a number of resistance to really feeling that emotion. There's one of them fear and that image of, you know, like particularly for men more so. We have the victim version of, you know, being a child and our parents telling us, stop that, don't cry or whatever. And so there's a fear of, we might think feeling the emotion, but it's really the fear of how our parents are going to react. Okay? Or how we're going to be punished if we feel emotion. So this is the layer on top, right? Because this was we got really angry about something as a kid, or we started crying about something as a kid, and they didn't put up with it. And so now we got the punishment from them, then we learned the condition, like, look out for the punishment from them. Fear of their response. And so often it's not like, I'm afraid I'm going to be overwhelmed. Like, no, I'm afraid mom or dad are going to come down on me. Is really what the fear is about. We're not so afraid of the emotion. But mom and dad don't come down on us anymore about this. But in our mind, we play that narrative and we have that response. And so we're afraid to feel. Story is really too shorthand and distorted. It's we're afraid to feel because, that's uncomfortable, but that's small. The bigger fear is we're afraid mom and dad might react to us, punish us, and then we'll do something wrong, we'll feel bad, a victim approach. So you have to take that story of mom and dad aren't there. That repercussion, that anger is not there. That punishment is not there. It's okay to feel this. The other version, typically for men, is, we have that kind of version for men, but then we have an image of what a man's supposed to be, and we don't feel this, and it doesn't fit with our image of ourselves. We want to be this guy, this self-importance, got it all together guy, that we had to be for mom so we could make our lives the way we want in that case. Because we might judge as being weak and wimpy and what have you. Load of crap. Load of crap. If you think it's like, if you want to be a fearless man, don't fear your emotions. You can't fear your own emotions and fear your feelings and be a fearless man. Okay? I'm afraid, I'm a coward about feeling my emotions, but I'm tough.
I run from nothing.
Okay?
Set myself.
That's nonsense, guys. That's nonsense. Okay?
So I totally get that feeling your emotions is important, but sometimes you can use that as an excuse to let the victim really play its role too.
Yes. And this is why the challenge is, just for me, is allow yourself to fully, completely feel the emotions, but you stay present and don't believe any stories that the mind offers, that any characters offer. If you're going to believe a story, you're probably going to distort the experience and indulge in it.
But when you're in the middle of one of those really strong emotions, that's when it's really hard to pull out of the story.
Yes. Yes. But if you practice enough, you'll figure it out.
It's possible.
It's possible. And yes, you're going to dip in and out of indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I call indulging. You believe in a story and now you're reliving it from a victim perspective, or your judgment about it, or blame at somebody else, resentment to somebody else. Yeah, so what's the other answer? Don't do it at all? No, go and get it, and it'll be a dirty process, and you'll fumble around in different stories, and you'll make judgments and victimizations about it, and you know what? And then you'll get out of that. If you have to go journal or whatever, build the characters, you get out of that. Yeah, sometimes it gets dirtier in the cleanup process for a while, like emptying out the closet. Like, okay, the room's all stacked up with stuff. No, oh my gosh. Okay, but that's how the closet gets cleaned out.
With snowballs.
Sometimes it gets a little messy.
I mean,
In the beginning, as you're practicing this and figure out, yeah, it's going to get messy. That's fine. So metaphor. Each one of these character stories will take you for a ride. They got their own agenda. They wanted like, here, come along with me, and live my dream of victim or judgment or anger. You know, they want to take you for a ride. Okay, and you're going to get taken for a ride. Okay, this stuff's not like I'm done.
so real
Okay.
too. The ride.
So you get on the ride and you enter their world, and you're like, and they are driving you into wherever.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're like, and they're in charge of the story. And you wonder, what am I doing here? And why do I feel this? Because this is the way the character sees the world. Okay? It's like, hello, your job is to step out of that character and go back to the first night meditation and go, oh, hi, that's that dream. And get centered again. Step onto the curb. Okay? Now, sometimes that character takes you for a ride and like, oh, you know, that person did this and that person did that, and it's all judgmental, you know, and they drop you off on another bus and you pick up a transfer to the victim. Oh, poor me, look what they did to me, you know. Yeah, what they did was really bad. I feel really like I was really, you know, mistreated, right? And they give you a transfer pass to be a villain and go, that son of a bitch, I hate, I'm angry. And now you got all that, and so you run over there. Oh my. And they'll give you a transfer pass back to the beginning of the first one. You know? Your job is to get off the bus. Step out of the story. Get on the curb. They're going to come by, they're going to open the door again. Each one of them. Okay? Okay? Another one's going to come from over here, because it's like you're at an intersection. They're going to come this way and go, hey, don't you hate those characters when they do that? Okay? Get on this story and really judge those characters there, right? And the victim, and they'll want to hand you off to a victim. It's like, yeah, poor you that you were just abused by those stories. And you know, you're so wimpy that you just keep falling for it. You're just no good at this. Okay? It's like, you can have buses that offer you stories about the other buses. Okay? They're going to come by. They're going to open the doors. Yeah, at times you're not going to see them, and you'll just get on. And then you go, what am I? I'm in a story. And you step off. Step out of that character, move to a different, get off the curb, and go, look at all these drivers driving their stories. Okay? And you're going to have to practice stepping off the bus. And you'll find yourself on a bus again and step off the bus.
And you won't
And
remember
step
doing
off the
that.
bus. And you won't, a lot of times you won't notice when and where you got on.
You'll
Okay.
notice that you're on that,
Okay.
in that story again.
Yeah.
And you're retelling.
And with the return. And oh, by the way, they always drive the same route. They're not that creative. It's like, I know this story. I know what he's going to talk about on this whole tour.
Yeah.
All right? You're like, I know what he's going to say next. You're like, I don't need this to be on this bus. I know this.
And I know
Okay,
which
I-
bus is coming next.
I don't, yeah, I know I know what bus they're going to transfer me to. You know? All right? So that's practice. Because as many times as those stories have come around and taken you for a ride, we're in quite the habit of following them and believing them. This has been our mind generating what it's been generating. Okay? And there's a different point of view, and I'll take you back to the exercise the first night. Get back to that next point of view, that separate point of view, and watch these characters. Okay? And that's practice. And you have to do it many times. Here's the thing. That emotional body I talked about earlier in the week. My beginning, most basic understanding was, okay, we have an emotional body. And it has two kinds of emotion. There's kinds of emotion that come from fear, and kinds of emotion come from love. And fear has all the anger and injustice and betrayal and jealousy, envy. And when we release all that stuff, there's empty space in that container. And there's more room for love. And my basic understanding of this work was, I want to get rid of all this fear and anger and self-judgment, what have you. Because then I have more room for love. And if I have an emotional body that's more full of love, I'll be happier. Okay? And there's as much sense I had of this as when I started. That's all I had to go with, and that's what I started with. That's a pretty good, that and a lot of intent, a strong intent and will, okay, to keep taking action in that direction. And that worked out pretty well.